This 80 series LandCruiser has been in my shop for the last several months. This is its first real shakedown of the stage 1 of its build. It's got a brand new Ironman 4-inch lift on it, bumpers front and rear, Ironman winch. We're just going to take it on a really easy 20-mile loop, but try to flex it out. It's got a totally different rear end than the factory one. The factory one had so much rust on it that I had to change it out. And so there was a lot of rust on the frame too. So I had to weld in some new brackets and replace some parts of the frame. And so I really want to flex it out and just see if we can break any of those welds before we take it on a huge trip. In 2 weeks, it's going on a trip to the Colorado and Utah BDR. So I just want to put it through its paces, just on this quick loop. It's close to home in case it does break. It's easy to get it home. So yeah, got my brother with me. Should be a fun day. This was absolutely a last-minute, unplanned 80 series shakedown run. We run into problems shortly into this trip that you'll see later in the video. And though we encountered some serious issues, we were able to see some good in this after realizing how bad it could have been.
How fast do you want to go?
Slow, just crawl it. Yeah. Nice, dude. That looked really good. Like I said, I have welded in new brackets for some of the suspension components, and this has an entirely different rear axle in it. There may still be kinks to work out. We really aren't sure at this point. These shakedown runs are designed to be inherently easy, just to see and understand how the vehicle may react on longer, more difficult trips. So, good thing we weren't on the highway when we lost our tie rod. But, fortunately, well, actually we might be able to find the nut. We just now lost it, so we'll look for it. If not, we're gonna have to figure out how to secure the tie rod to limp it out of here. Oh, and I figured this thing was solid, so, you know, we left the tools at home, but gosh, I wish I had a ratchet strap. I got no steering. That was funny. All right, so we have an issue. Obviously, our tie rod and our steering stabilizer is no longer connected to the pitman arm. We walked up the hill and we tried to find the nut. We can't find it. We do have a cotter pin from our hitch receiver recovery point thing, but it's a little big. We can maybe force it with a hammer. But my house is not that far from here. I think that what we could do is maybe put that back into the pitman arm and then hold the tie rod tight with the winch. Just suck it up really tight so that it can't fall back out of the pitman arm. I'm gonna try it, and then we're gonna do a little test just to see how secure it actually is. I actually feel like it's gonna be pretty secure. So. Man, that LandCruiser is so photogenic, except for the steering hanging down. So, fortunately, McKaylee is on her way. She's got my tools out of the Jeep, pair of vice grips, full socket, wrench set, everything. Assortment of nuts, a nut that is the right diameter, probably the wrong thread pitch, but it might get us out of here if we force it on. Cotter pin kit. And so hopefully we'll either steal a nut from somewhere on the Jeep now that we have tools, or worst case is we'll use a cotter pin only, and that's a little scary. I don't know. You know, I know that the pressure is going to be laterally, but there's so much pressure coming from power steering. I don't know if it will hold. And there are a lot of pretty steep corners on the road. So we aren't usually this stupid. I always bring tools. This was like a super last minute, and I usually have my Jeep, which has tons of tools in it, because it always breaks, so I should have known better. It's broken right now. But so we're sitting here stranded, waiting for tools and cotter pin and maybe a nut. I don't know what the size is. I sent a message to a guy I know at Ironman, waiting for the response. Hopefully he gets back to me with the size. But worst case is we can hope that a cotter pin will hold. We're not too far from my house. And then I can just take that castle nut, the other side castle nut, into a hardware store, match it up, and get another one. So in the meantime, we're sick. The winch, of course, didn't work. If we used the winch to hold the tie rod from the center, it continued to fall out of the pitman arm, and securing the tie rod where it would not fall out of the pitman arm interfered with the steering. Luckily, help arrived a few hours later with my tools, nuts, cotter pins, and a damaged ZR2. More on that later. Fortunately, we didn't have to force anything on, and we were able to fix it the right way on the trail. The positive thing to take from this is the fact that this very easily could have happened on the freeway, moving much faster. We are extremely fortunate that this happened on a gravel road, and we weren't moving very fast when it did happen. However, unfortunately, my winch line snapped, holding the tie rod in place so I could tighten the castle nut. Weird. I could have sworn I must have had the winch line on some sort of sharp metal object. But no. After watching the video, it became obvious that it broke right at the hawse. Very strange. I am hoping that it was just a bad line. A lot of people have very good things to say about these winches. And again, a positive can be taken from this. This line broke at a time when we needed it the most. We are about to embark on a 2,000-mile trip, with most of it being off-road. I am glad this winch line snapped on a gravel road. The LandCruiser was fixed and moving again. We headed down the mountain and completed the loop together. We stopped to check the castle nut from time to time. It was holding solid. We enjoyed the rest of the trip and accepted the opportunity to attempt a mild hill climb and descent as the last test for the LandCruiser. Of course, it handled it perfectly. We finished out the trip talking about how important it is to always be prepared. Luckily, when we weren't prepared, people were able to assist us. But we won't take that for granted. We learned a thing or two, and will definitely be more prepared next time. Before hopping on the highway to take us home, we took one more look at the LandCruiser, still solid. If you're interested in seeing how this does on a massive off-road trip, consider subscribing. We will see you on the next one.